Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart. In this stock review video, we're going to take a look at the Nasdaq Biotech sector, which really exploded this week. And we're going to look at the three top holdings of this ETF: Gilead Sciences, Biogen, and Celgene. So stay tuned. Okay, we're going to start off here with the Nasdaq Biotech ETF and look at the weekly chart first. Now, these trend lines I had on here, I drew a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember the last time I put this out. And, you know, these are legitimate trend lines, okay? And this is the picture that it is portraying. It's portraying a rising wedge. Now, we got a pretty big move here this week. Matter of fact, let's see, it was up 8%. And up $24.79. It broke above that $330 level, and it's broken above this trend line. So it's possible that this could be a throwover of some kind. You know, we are getting to an extreme in both the IBB as well as the three stocks we're going to look at here. We're getting fairly extended in terms of the moves. Does that mean I think you ought to short them? No. We'll talk about all that in a minute. Now, right above this, there is, I think, resistance up in here, which looks like about, where have I got that? Like 343 level, that type of thing. The top of this congestion and consolidation, and there's a little gap right in here. Let's take a look at the daily chart. You'll see that a little bit better. Here we go. Okay, so this is the picture on the daily chart. Now, I have got Keltner channels in here. I like Keltner channels better than Bollinger Bands because I think I like the way they stay fairly steady and they don't go real wild. And you know, I can look at the extreme consolidation in another way. But once you get outside the Keltner channels here, which I'm using as 2 ATR around a 20 moving average, 20 EMA moving average, we are getting pretty elevated. Now we got extended, we got that over here in this move. So what does it mean? It means it could be pulling back into the Keltner channel, into the 10-day exponential moving average. The moving averages you're going to see on my charts are the 10-day exponential moving average, the 55-day exponential, and the 89-day exponential. These are Fibonacci numbers. These are kind of a longer term picture of the longer term trend, which clearly is to the upside. And the 10 is kind of my trigger line that I'm looking for short-term moves and trending short to intermediate type moves in here. And you can see once it broke back above that 10-day moving average, that's when it was ready to go. Okay, so let's zoom back out of the IBB here and see what we're looking at. We got this gap fill over here, and that the bottom of that gap, I thought I had, actually I think I have it on another chart. The low of that gap, you know what I'm going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to zoom in on this just a little bit better. So you could see that that gap, the top of the gap, the low of this bar here, is 338.32. So let's call it 338. So the gap fill occurs at 338. And so, you know, we could, you know, easily keep pushing right up into that. We are, as I said, getting a little extended, and just like this move over here, we'll just watch and see. I would not be surprised to see a pullback after this kind of move. Let's go ahead and take a look at Gilead Sciences. I'm going to look at Gilead on a weekly chart. Gilead was up a lot bigger than 8%. It was up 13.5% this week. Huge move, and it exploded. And I did have my insider members. We were in an option trade on Gilead this week that turned out very well for us. Actually, I think I got into it. I have to look at the daily chart. I'll tell you exactly where I got into it. But the trade ended up real well, and I'll review that trade on a future video. So where are we going to run into resistance? I think we're going to be running into some resistance up in here as we get up a little bit further above 85 into this area here, 85 to 88, that kind of thing. If it can continue to push up there. What is this trend line that you see here? That trend line is this big channel that Gilead's been in on a weekly chart. Okay, this extends back from the mid 1990s. So we're talking a 20-year channel this stock's been in. Now it started to break down out of that channel back here earlier this year, and now it's pulled back up into it. So it's going to be seen how it continues to push higher. Right now, you got to say the trend is pretty doggone strong. The longer term trend just flipped in here at mid-July. And what are these dotted lines? These dotted lines is what I was using. We got in just above this high. Actually, it was just above this high here. We got in on the 23rd in here. So we rode this move up. And I was looking at this resistance point, which we blew through on 77. And then I was looking at this next resistance point on 80, which we continued to blow through. I got out of half the position at 80, and then I got out of the other half right near the end of the day. It was around right up in here, near where it closed. Actually got out at 15 minutes before closing. And I just felt like this was going to be fairly strong resistance up in this area. But yesterday it continued to blow right through that. So pretty strong move. But look how far above the Keltner channels that we are. I mean, really, really extended. And, you know, it is very, very overbought. But we look at the RSI, it's up here at 88. And usually when that gets something like that, to me, that doesn't mean it's time to automatically sell this and put shorts on, that type of thing. What this is telling me is this is an indication of a very, very strong move. Now, I would expect that this is going to work off some of this overbought kind of condition and pull back. It could do it either by going sideways or pulling back down into the 10-day exponential or to the middle of the Keltner channel. So, you know, and again, these resistance levels that it blew through could now very easily become support in here, 81.5 or this 80 level. So we have to watch that too. So Gilead's acting very well, very strong move this week. Let's take a look at Biogen. Biogen on a weekly basis, big move up 12.6%. You can see, I think this has got room in here to go to get up into this 350 to let's call it 358, 359 area. And I'm gauging that based on the kind of trading that occurred back here in 2015. Okay, so I think this has got room to run, but it is also extended when we look at the daily charts. And you can see that what this did was it really went after it blew through 300, which it had tried to do. It just couldn't stay above 300 several times, very much like what IBB was doing a while back. Let's take a look at Biogen on the daily chart, and you can see here how far above that Keltner channel it is. All of these are going to look like the very same picture, very similar in here. Had a very nice swing setup, and I'm not trading Biogen. But this is just a nice, beautiful setup and trending higher. So you got to say the trend is still to the upside. There's no doubt, but it is extended just like the others are. Let's take a look at the last one we'll take a look at is Celgene, a Celgene weekly chart. This is a little different. This is a little more advanced than the others. Celgene closed at a new all-time closing high, both on a weekly and daily basis. Okay, so this is up here near the top, and it's going to be interesting to see if it could continue to push the way the others are. It may blow right through this high. This was 140.72. The high this week was right below that, 140.25. So for all intents and purposes, it got there. But again, you know what you're seeing on the weekly chart is a 10-week exponential and a 21-week exponential. Okay, so the trend is still to the upside, still trending very nicely. This is the bigger picture on Celgene. Celgene has just been in a phenomenal trend. This is again from the 90s. You can see this strongly trending channel was broken out of here in 2015. That just had a short-term pullback, kind of a consolidation, and now it's tried to attack that previous high. So we're right there. Let's take a look at the daily, see if it tells us anything different. Here's the daily picture. I think this might be the one I put, and I put the gap. No, that was the, yeah, there's no gap. There's no gap close on this one. It's the other chart I was talking about. All right, so this one is not nearly as extended as Gilead and Biogen, still above that Keltner channel. And, you know, this was a nice pullback, nice setup. You can see how the 55 has continued to stay above that 89 and still trending higher with higher highs and higher lows. So this is one that I would still watch for a pullback to see how it acts. And, you know, if the trend continues to push higher, which is exactly what you would expect on this kind of setup right now. All right, so Biogen's had one heck of a week, huge explosion, and we'll watch and see whether or not it can continue to accelerate these kind of gains. Celgene was of the three. Celgene was only up 7.5%. Say only up 7.5% this week. So big move. All right, if you felt like the video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share the video with others. And remember, keep it simple, follow your plan, and trade without fear. We'll talk to you on the next video.